Yo, what up guys, it's your boy FPL Josh and welcome to another video. Today we're just going to be talking about our FPL Game Week 10. Had a little bit of a stinker. As you can see, we've only got a 60 point total. I'll score this up. We've only got a 60 point total for this. Which, we're on 550 points, 2 mil rank. We're going bad. We had Tottenham Kerry last year and we're at the point where it's going to be a crap next couple of weeks due to Kane and Stan. Martinelli ruining my parade after bringing him out preparing for game week 12, and Mitrovic obviously blanking. Been a bit of a stinker for me. I took a -4 hit from Rashford and Trent, James and Maddison, which Rashford got more points in both, and Arnold obviously didn't Arnold and blanked. So I took like a pretty much a -2. But long term, it will pay off, even with the James problems this week, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Tony got a pen, got me a goal. Andreas got a goal, which was great. Zaha again come through, which is great. Cancelo had the armband, moved back to Haaland because I couldn't trust myself, and I'm kind of regretting not going risky and going Cancelo, but it's one of them. Trippier did good. Salah's a hold still for me, by the way, guys. I'm going to get rid of Salah. I was contemplating, if I show you my team now, going to Son, go to transfer. I was contemplating going. I got one free transfer. I've had Walker sat there like the last 3 weeks. I'm not planning on bothering transferring him yet for the sake of a transfer when I have got players I can play. I will only be able to play 10 in game week 12, but it'll be a good 10-man squad. So it's worth it in my eyes by still holding my main City players and my Arsenal player. I'm not as bad as some. Some people have got like 6 and having to work a way around it and only having like an 8-man squad, so I'm not muddied like some people are, so I'm not annoyed. Just a bit disappointed. Obviously, it's okay. That sound. Yeah, it's one of those. For transfer plans, I've not got nothing planned this week. I'm holding my transfer. I was considering Salah to Son and Son to Salah again in game week 12, but what I thought was my best decision was holding Maddison, seeing how he goes, and possibly going Maddison into Darwin Núñez here, 6.6 mil spare, and Bruno Guimaraes with 2 transfers. Give Bruno Guimaraes a really 1 week punt against Everton. Bring him back in the week after for Martinelli. Bring him out the week after for Martinelli. And then save 2 transfers for when Liverpool's obviously good weeks go. And possibly game week 15 going to KDB or Foden for a week. Probably Foden actually, yeah. Walker to Foden with the Zaha thing for a week. For like my game week 14. Or Anthony. I quite fancy Anthony game week 14 onwards. For a Zaha replacement possibly. Obviously I am in the midst of probably Zaha long term up till game week 16. So I'm sorry about my voice, guys. I'm not really there to make that decision yet. Going with the flow. This is my current game week 12, not game week 12, sorry, game week 11 lineup before game week 12. This is currently what we're looking at if I get rid of that. Apologies, guys. The computer's starting to be a little bit annoying. But yeah, this is kind of what we're looking at. It's obviously tough because Trippier, I have to play him because I know he'll get an assist or a clean sheet. Even though he's against my home team, I'd still back us to win. I still back Trippier. I back Newcastle to score a couple goals against us, and I back us to win, obviously. But I reckon if there is goals, he'll be involved in them, and it's a no-brainer. And James is obviously benched because James is one of the worst -4s I've took this year was Maddison and James for Rashford and Arnold. But Arnold would have been out anyway, which would have cost me a transfer. So getting Maddison in long term was a better idea for me personally, anyway. So I don't really regret what I've done. I probably could have evaluated it more and not brought James in. If I would have done it this week and been patient. But I was quite sure that James would have got a clean sheet and Maddison would have got a haul. but it's one of those. I took a risk. It didn't pay off. It's FPL for you. I am 550 and 2 more rank this year at the minute. Last year at this time, I was exactly the top 15k rank. So the ranking this year for me has been a bit of a screw up. But considering I've holded Salah and I'm only like 20 points behind, let's talk FPL and FPL mate now. He was like 90 odd 100 points behind me. It's one of those, like I can catch up this 160 points. I reckon, yeah, I could reasonably catch up at least 140 odd points to them this year. As long as I start getting everything correct like I was, I could still reach the top 10k if you ask me. But it's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of getting things correct, and a lot of looking at data each week and processing it. We'll start off by talking about my goalkeeper position. Now, I've got Sanchez and I've got Raya. I reckon Brentford will score, and I reckon Brighton will score. I just back Sanchez for more save points over Raya, even though Raya has been getting great save points. I just think Brighton logically could keep Tony out with the way Brentford are, which I don't want them to. But like if I get a clean sheet for Sanchez and a blank for Tony, if I get a goal for Tony and then obviously like 3 points for Sanchez, it's still decent. So I'd rather play Sanchez in that opinion. Salah, I'm not expecting a clean sheet, but I'm expecting probably assist, hopefully. Salah, watching that game against Rangers, that hat trick, I was debating the Son move, but I was like, no, I can't do it to him when he's got West Ham. You know, game week 12. He's going to be my captain game week 12. Spoiler alert. Game week 13, he's going to be my captain too. Instead of Haaland, because Haaland's got Brighton, but Salah against Forest is just captain material. 14 and obviously 15 will be Haaland. 16, possibly Salah. 17 and 18 would definitely be Haaland by the looks of Haaland's fixtures. I'm quite sure he's got a nice bit of fixtures. Game week 17 and 18. Yeah, Leeds and Everton. But obviously leading up to that, he's got Leicester, Fulham. Probably going to back him against Leicester and Fulham, actually. It'd be either Salah or him, Leicester. It's a hard discussion for that 14 week because Leeds aren't looking that great defensively, and Salah against Tottenham would be a Haaland cap that week. So there is a couple weeks where I could captain Salah if he decides to pick up and Klopp plays him up front again. But a 6 minute and 50-second hat trick for him was quite good. It was really, really, really poor from Rangers' side of view, though. I've got to say it was very poor from Rangers. It's probably the worst defending I have seen in honesty view in the Champions League. It was horrible defending, but it's one of them. I think he'll pick up if you ask me, and I've confidence in him. I'll stay confident in him if you ask me. Through all, but obviously, it annoys me when they've got this fixture down as a 5. Personally, for me, I don't think it deserves to be a 5. I think it deserves to be a 3 for City. Because I think City generally would win a lot of margins, probably about 6 summit against Liverpool. But I reckon Salah could get a goal. I'm quite confident this week. I don't think KDB is a keeper for me. I think it's a sell KDB, get Salah in this week, and then for all the weeks coming up. Logically seems the best move. You've got Son. I told him game week 11. Go back into Salah game week 12. Assuming, obviously, you've had Salah before and got rid of him like most people. I've holding him the whole season. I've got a couple red flags roaming around my team right now. It's a struggle. We've took a minus 12, minus 16 this year. It's not been great, but it's not been horrific compared to some other people's seasons. So I'm not ashamed of my rank. I'm not bothered too much by it. There's FPL experts I know who are like 2.5 ranks, 1.8 ranks, 1.5s. You know, it's not a bad position to be in. It's not a killer position. It's not something that's going to throw my whole year out the window. It's something that I can pick up and just get back. Got to remember the gaps between ranks are still really close. There's like a 6-point gap between me and the 1.5 mil mark. So it's I can make up a 20-point ground in 1 week. Minimum, I reckon. So I reckon I can make up ground pretty quick. Like, my brothers took 44 ahead of me. which is probably going to put him in the top 500k managers. Which, you know, it's not nice. See me go from being only 27s and 28s behind both of them to this margin. I would have been 554, obviously, but I took that hit. Well, if I would have took that hit, actually, and kept my players, I would have been on 556. So it would have been a 12-point gap instead of an 18-point gap there. It would have only been a 38 gap. But people are creeping up on me. Kind of falling behind a bit. I've holded this 4th place for a bit. 44 behind is catchable up if I play the right triple captain, the right bench boost. I haven't got my 3 hits, which my brother has. I'm kind of wishing I did have my 3 hits, which I don't. Gives, obviously, people ground, like my stepdad and my brothers, to make up now. They've got that 3 hit where me and brother Dendonk JK hasn't got it, where Bailey never got it, so it's going to be a struggle for us. We go to, like, yep, YouTube FPL Duo League. I am currently 88th in the league. I think I'm quite a low down. There's 100 and I'm 80. I'm quite a down below. There's 1.2.3 points. You know, if I make up like 20 points in 1 week, then I'm up here in the 50s. So it's not like I'm in a bad position. It's just second half of the season, I really need to get it together. Pick the most ballsy, most differential game week 16 team I can, which is why I do recommend don't fully copy me game week 16. My team is going to be so ballsy, so 1% ownership players that risky or I think are good in detail and should get me points. It's going to be a risk. Daka, by the way, I do recommend, guys, if you do want to drop Mitrovic, personally, I've got full faith in him starting, but if you do want to drop him, Patterson, Daka, and Skamaka. Skamaka is my favourite option. Just considering it at 1.6% ownership. If I hear any news on Mitrovic, it will be going. And I just have to take a hit to get Darwin in. And I get him in game week 12. That'll just be the case of that. And I'll have to suck it up to get Darwin in. Bruno Gamera's in for Madison and Tony for -4 in game week 12. I have to transfer Mitrovic this week. But for me, he starts. For me, it's a hold. For me, I think it's worth holding anyway. If you can bench him for someone good. Obviously, I ain't got that scenario. But I think game week 12, he'll definitely start. Game week 13, 14, definitely nailed them games. It's just I'm unsure about this week. And a lot of people are unsure, but I think for me, yeah, like I said, I think in my heart, I think he'll start. I had faith in him last week, so I'm going to have faith in him this week, I think. Unless I hear something major, like he's guaranteed not play. I don't want, if I hear something minor, like a possibility, 50-50, we're looking at it like it was last week, then I'll keep him in. Because he was looking at playing last week by the news we had, and it was a last minute thing that put him off due to him hurting, and he didn't play. But before that, we thought, you know what, he'll play. It's only a little injury. He's nailed. James with a knock. It's an unsurety for me because a lot of us are saying no, he won't, and a lot of us are saying he are. But I think, honestly, Brentford, Man U, Brighton, Arsenal, Newcastle. I've probably made a cock up by bringing this guy in. He probably will have to be ditched like game week 14, but Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, though. Those are really good fixtures. Man City, Crystal Palace. He's still a necessity, though, my eyes. Just due to the fact of his attacking returns, if Potter decides to play him instead of. But Potter seems to be playing all the younger ones, Graham Potter does. Mason Mount looks really good. He always screws me over every season when I bring him in, so I refuse to bring him in and curse you guys, but. And I can't really bring him in with the transfers, but I do like him, and I probably would if I could have like 4 transfers or 3 transfers ever possible in this game. Obviously, it's not. We're 2 transfers right now. I would bring him in. Yeah, I would. Definitely. It wouldn't cross my mind to not bring him in and go Mitrovic down into Madison and a striker that's like 5 point something mil. It wouldn't even cross my mind. I'd just do it. but I ain't got that kind of stuff to do it. But yeah, Mason Mount, in fairness to him, he looked very, very good. Just not good enough for my team right now. No, I'd have to take a two. I'd probably have to go Zaha and then Mitrovic backer. But it's not smart. I'd probably do for Zaha. But Mason Mount does look like he's picking up. So if you want to replace like Rashford's and your Mitrovic, I'd go probably Mason Mount and a 5.5 more strike like Diego Costa maybe. Diego Costa looked very, very good. But yeah, I'd go Diego Costa over Solanke. Because Nottingham Forest this week, 0.6% ownership. You have a very, very good punt and a very, very high scoring player this week. And it was someone I was possibly looking at to go from Tony to, but logically Tony gets a goal against Brighton. I don't consider Nottingham Forest defence good, but I don't consider it that bad that it's going to be the hat-trick to a 34-year-old Diego Costa. So I'm not too worried. Obviously, I'm a little bit worried about the fact I've got a bench 4 players in game week 12. If we go on to yeah, we're on pick. Right, this is kind of what my team's going to look like game week 12, assuming we don't have anything like Dom. Obviously, James is going to go in there for HALLAND. Ignore the captain. The captain's going to be SALAH. So this is just my game week 12 team. Ignore these fixtures. These are all different. This is when we have the blank. I'm doing it for. And this is kind of like what my team would look like. I'd have 5 in the midfield, 3 at the back. But I'd only have 2 at the back playing. Bear in mind, though, I'd have 2 transfers. So what I was thinking was going. I'd have Bruno Guimaraes here and Darwin Núñez here. Or I could go Tony down to a Scamacca and SALAH into a Virgil van Dijk. Not Virgil van Dijk, sorry, a Gomez. I can't afford Virgil van Dijk with that move. It'd have to be Solanke or Patterson Daka to do that, but just due to the fact game week 12 plus, it's great fixtures. But I think logically, take a risk, only have 10 men. Bruno Guimaraes against Everton, who looks very, very good for Newcastle, and Darwin Núñez up front, or Diego Jota. It could be Diego Jota too, but it would be my Martinelli move though. But it depends who's going to start. It could even be Firmino, possibly. It's going to be a Liverpool player though, more or less. If it's not a Liverpool player, you'll probably find I'd be upgrading SALAH to a Van Dijk and switching Tony down to a Solanke or a Patterson Daka. What you'd find. But it's a tough decision that week with those 2 free transfers. Logically, Solanke will play, Van Dijk will play. That seems the best move for a starting 11. And for clean sheets possibly coming up. I could go Gomez. Go -4 into a Darwin Núñez and have Gomez. We'll get a clean sheet against West Ham, I reckon. Would make up for that -4 straight away with a 2 profit. And then Bruno Guimaraes and Darwin Núñez. So that could be a great move for me with 2 free transfers and a hit, but it's taking these hits that's really worrying me. Obviously, I'm quite confident that Andreas will perform against Leeds. No doubt of a lie. Him against Aston Villa. And obviously Mitrovic against Aston Villa. It's a no-brainer for game week 12. Zaha, game week 12. He's running Wolves, so that's going to be a great fixture for me. Maddison is running against Leeds, which again is another great fixture for me. And I don't think Brentford have got a ridiculous fixture, have they? Chelsea. Yeah, so I'd have to play De Silva. It will only be a 2-pointer. And Sanchez will get a clean sheet. I guarantee I'll get a clean sheet against theirs. Here. Trippier, game week 12, obviously, is Everton. So I'm confident in that. James should be back by game week 12 for Brentford. So I'm quite confident in my picks. And anyway, I want you all to leave your things in the comments and teams, and I'll get back to you in comments. So, this has been FPL Josh, boys, and see you boys soon. Bye.